Hollywood, the pinnacle of entertainment, fame, and beautiful people. The media production capital of the world that is constantly creating content spreading through our societal systems. When a new movie airs or new show is piloted, articles are written, reviews are published, and discussion takes off exploring all aspects of its content. But what about the details and situations we didn't choose to consume? Implicit bias and structural favoritism are built into the media, and we like to brush it off as entertainment. But with a closer eye, it is clear that media plays a major role in shaping our culture. It's a tough pill to swallow, knowing that the way in which people and situations are portrayed in the Hollywood media influence their perception in reality, even as it may pertain to the legal system. And how about when we apply this theory to the hot debate of abortion? The stigmatization of abortion is quoted as saying, "Detailed examination of media constructions of abortion may help to identify emerging public discourse." Now, I'm going to discuss how on-screen media fuels public discourse of abortion's legal perception by misrepresenting demographics, underrepresenting marginalized key perspectives, and highlighting emotional and physical risks over realistic situations. The polarizing opinions of pro-life versus pro-choice are not new. However, Hollywood media creates an environment perfect for the cultivation of public discourse and rapid spread of misinformation. So when did this all begin? In 1973, there was the landmark Supreme Court case ruling in Roe v. Wade that ruled in favor of Roe and declared abortion legal under the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. Planned Parenthood v. Casey reaffirmed this ruling, but then allowed states to institute certain restrictions on abortion procedures. The first representation of abortion on screen was many years before, however, in the 1916 silent film Where Are My Children? It projected anti-abortion sentiments that were very common during this time, but obviously not very common anymore. This just goes to prove that the dramatization of abortion procedures in media evolved with the times and political standings of the era. Now, with the current political climate, there's a clear attempt made by Hollywood to be more politically conscious given the circumstances. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're accurate. So how could media have such a wide-ranging effect? It's not easy to uncover, but recording the representation of abortion throughout the years is one way. Abortion On-Screen Report 2019 found that a clear majority of representations, 65%, were white women of economic stability, a common misconception for the real majority of poor women of color who receive abortions. Now, what does this mean? This could contribute to a perception that the procedure is a luxury, and that is mostly for women with the ability to support a child, but who are worried about their future opportunities. It's more often women of lower economic status who simply cannot afford the expenses that come with successfully proceeding with the pregnancy, let alone raising a child. Another common misconception that Hollywood capitalizes on is teen pregnancy, when in reality, women aged 18 to 19 made up only 8% of all abortions in the U.S. Now, it is important to recognize the independent writers and directors attempting to combat this misinformation, and Kelly O'Sullivan is one of them. She's the writer of St. Francis, and she was inspired by her own experiences. She told Time magazine, quote, "As I was going through that process, which was very simple and not very scary, I realized I had been miseducated about abortion through TV and film growing up and in my young adulthood. I wanted to write a story where it's non-traumatic depiction of abortion. It's ordinary and light and sometimes funny, and very realistic in its portrayal." While recognizing these many important and wonderful firsts made in the industry, they are just that, firsts. And even more so, Hollywood has a habit of being run by majority perspectives that lack those that are marginalized. In Sex and the City, there were 3 different abortion plot lines. It did normalize the concept in terms of the series, but specifically highlighted experiences that happened to very few women. In the show, Miranda decided to not go through with the procedure while sitting in the clinic waiting room. Samantha had 2 abortions, and Carrie has long-term regret over her one. Although these were more diversified experiences in comparison, Carrie and Miranda's experiences were actually a very small percentage of women who consider and obtain abortions. Because shows and movies sell on their level of drama, the plotlines are exaggerated for entertainment purposes. However, this does not mean that they are consumed with this fault in mind and can be taken to heart both consciously and subconsciously. Would you even know that 60% of abortions were performed for women who had already had one prior pregnancy and are often mothers already raising children, according to the Guttmacher Institute? A major point of dispute in terms of abortion is the point in when life of a child truly begins. Some believe it's at conception, while others believe it's not until the 2nd trimester, and others not until the actual birth. And even this type of uncertainty can be preyed upon by Hollywood and capitalized upon because of its drama. In the HBO show 6 Feet Under, the main character, Claire, simply went to the clinic early on in her pregnancy and the show continued. However, in the season finale, when Claire has visions of her afterlife, she sees a baby, exemplifying the pregnancy she aborted, even though she had an early abortion. and this conflates the idea between the life of an infant with an embryo or fetus. According to the CDC's abortion surveillance report, 91% of abortions were performed in early gestation, and only 1.2% were performed after 21 weeks. It is true that abortion is a polarizing topic to discuss, but efforts to centralize these perspectives have not been made in the media. The sad truth is that of September 1st, 2019, 29 states were considered hostile toward abortion rights, which will only continue to increase considering the current political climate. There are endless statistics of women who would be negatively impacted by the legality of abortion. But maybe if the situations of abortion in Hollywood media were more accurate to real situations, maybe this would be different. And who is to say, however, that it's the inverse relationship, and Hollywood simply portrays what they believe to be the public opinion. In either situation, the media has the power to control what they produce, and therefore what we, the people, consume. And even if this were true, there are endless examples of films and television shows in which key perspectives and majority experiences who don't feel guilt, poor women and mothers, are lacking. We are surrounded by technology that is filled with different types of media, and we consume it all and all of its implicit bias, whether we intend to or not. There's no point in playing these mediums off as entertainment because that would merely be the surface of its content. There still needs to be more recognition of the content's clear faults. People will stand strongly behind their political beliefs, whether for moral, spiritual, economic, or personal reasons. However, implicit and explicit influences from the media should not be a factor.